dance friends, and welcome to this edition of Technique Tips. I am kind of going on a theme from the last couple that I released, which we worked on pelvic tilts, so tilting the pelvis forward and back for some of our lower belly isolations. And then the last video I did, or the one after that, was to play with diamonds and circular shapes. And so we did these little pelvic circles right inside of our space. So today we're going to continue working on ways that we can play with those pelvic tilts in a move we call the reverse undulation, or some people also think of it as a vertical pelvic circle, whereas the one we did in the previous was more on the horizontal plane. So here's what we do. We are going to go ahead and start with our feet close together, toes pointed forward in our posture, and we're going to bend those knees. And just a quick review of that pelvic tilt. So I'm going to pull in from my deep low belly muscles and rotate the hip bones back, bringing the low belly closer up towards my upper belly, and then I'm going to release without pushing back. So I'm going to squeeze it up and in, and release, and squeeze, and release, and we just get this little tilt going without moving our hips forward or back at all. It's just right here within the same space that we're standing. All right, so from here, we are going to do a little bit of movement of the hips forward and then again back to our neutral. So we're going to put these little moments together to create this circular motion of the pelvis and the hips, which again we commonly refer to as a reverse undulation because it also has effects that bring it up into your abdominal muscles. So we're bending those knees. And we're going to take that pelvic tilt, and keeping our pelvis tilted, we're going to slide the hips forward just a little bit. So not so far forward that you have to let go of that tilt. That contraction is very important to hang on to. So we're going to go pelvic tilt, send it forward just a little, and now we're going to release it, which this moment here feels a little weird. It's like you're sticking your belly out after eating a big meal. And so from here, we're just going to slide the hips back to where they started. And we do that again by engaging in that low belly, because then we're going to begin the next tilt to create our little cycle. So we go forward, down, back, and up. 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 So right there we were just drawing a neat little square. So now we're going to go ahead and round that out, make it a little more circular, and then I'll talk about the abdominal after effect. So bending those knees, you're going to come forward, up, down and back. Forward, up, down and back. Forward, up, down and back. Forward, up. Now keep doing this with me if you're doing it. And I want you to think of what's happening right here in this moment. So we have our back, we just went back, and we're going up to come forward. And what's going to happen, what you might find happens naturally, I don't want you to think about it too hard right now, but just try to feel it, is that this motion of coming in and up, and then as you bring it forward, it sort of sends that contraction up your abs. So we have here, forward, down and up, and we get a little undulation coming down to up in the abdominal muscles. Now, if you're not feeling that right now, that's okay. Keep working on the circular motion. The more you get used to that, the more your middle abs and upper abs will kind of hook in to what's going on and have that flow coming further up your body, because our hips really, they don't move alone. They're connected above and below. So as we're doing this, of course, the legs and knees are responding, but also over time with practice, you will feel those abs begin to respond, and that's why we call that the reverse undulation, because it starts with that circular moment down below and comes up through the torso. All right, so now I'm going to put on a little rhythm and we're going to work with, again, those little vertical squares. And then we're going to take it into the circle, see if you can feel what's going on in the abs there. And then I'm going to try to take it one little step further with a very simple foot step that we use with this particular movement. Alright, so normally I face into the mirror when we do these little drills, but I think for this video, it's best if I keep facing the camera. You see this best from the front of the body. You also can see the other angle in the mirror if you need that. So, we're going to bend those knees, feet are close together, right underneath us, finding that neutral pelvis first, ribs lifted, shoulders down. Let's just take a couple of pelvic tilts again to our rhythm. Get used to how that feels. We go tilt and release, and tilt and release, and tilt and release, and tilt and release. We're just going to do 4 more of these, then we're going to begin to build that square. And release, and tilt and release. Low belly in. There you go. And now we're going to go tilt, slide it forward, and release, pull it back, and tilt, slide it forward, and release, and be careful on the pulling it back. We're not trying to go back behind center and stick our butt out behind us, just trying to use the low abdominals after here to sort of pull us back into place, so we're not finishing the move with our hips forward. We want our hips neutral. Up and forward, and down and center, and up and forward, and down and center. One more, then we are going to start rolling it through, make it around again. Up, forward, down, center. Up, forward, down, center. Try to keep the shoulders as still as possible. Yes, the knees are straightening and bending a little bit to accommodate the hip movement, but we're also not changing our level, not involving the chest and shoulders, but we might feel that little reverse undulation we talked about. And back, forward, said that wrong, up, and back, up, forward, release, back, up, forward, release, back, up. 2 more, then we're going to try something a little extra, and back, up, forward, release, and relax. Okay, so this is an isolation, just using this little guy with, we can take it with a step for what we call the pony kick prep. The full pony kick has a 3/4 shimmy over the top. We're not going to get into that today. Maybe a future video will talk about that. But for now, let's just work feet in isolations. All the feet are doing are stepping forward and back. And you can do this on the balls of your feet or flat, whatever works for you, and back and forward and back. That's all the feet are going to do. Now, let's think about where we want to be in the circle when we step forward. Okay? We want to actually, since we're stepping down, that's where we want the forward down motion to happen. So I'm going to start tilted up, forward down as I step forward. Then as I step on the back foot, that's where I'm pulling the pelvis back to my neutral. So I go up, over, and back, and over, and back. It's almost like you're trying to step your hips over something, right? As your foot steps over the same small object on the floor. So we're sending those hips up and forward and down, pulling it back with the back step. So the hips coordinate with the feet. All right, I'm going to take 1 more over here. Just a little exploration. If it's not working out, just go back to the circles. All right, we're just going to do it on the other leg to even things up. Starting right away. Here we go. We go. Forward, down, back, up, forward, down, back, up, forward, down, back. And again, like I said, you could do this in releve on your toes. I often prefer to stay flat in my feet, but you can see I'm going ball, heel as I put that front foot down, ball, heel. It helps with that up, down feel in the hips or the pelvis. Forward, down. One more here. Forward, down. Bring it So take a moment to stretch out a little bit, pull the low belly in, hips back, soft knees, flat back forward, then round it out. Little forward fold to release the back. And then keep your knees bent, belly in, come up with a flat back. And that's our drill. Thanks so much, and I will see you next week. Please remember to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and I release these technique tip videos once per week. There's a whole collection of them already in a playlist if you want to go back and look at posts or previous ones that I've done. You're welcome to do that, and I will see you again soon.